In life, it is often not the grand acts that leave the deepest marks on our hearts. It's the small, thoughtful gestures that touch something within us that words alone cannot reach. Sometimes, what seems ordinary to one person becomes unforgettable to another. A kind word, a simple smile, a handwritten note, or even a tiny gift can carry emotions too powerful to measure. These small moments of sincerity have a magic of their own. They speak to the heart quietly but profoundly. When we look back on our lives, we rarely remember the expensive things. We remember how people made us feel. We remember the moments when someone thought of us without being asked, when a gesture showed us that we were seen, valued, and understood. That's what makes small gestures extraordinary. They are born from awareness, empathy, and genuine affection, not from obligation. In this story, it wasn't an elaborate surprise or a luxurious present that changed everything. It was a simple gift, one that seemed small on the surface but carried deep meaning underneath. The husband's brother didn't just hand over an object, he gave a piece of emotion wrapped in simplicity. Maybe it was a handmade item, a letter, or something symbolic, but its power came from the thought behind it, not the material value. Often, these small gestures come when we least expect them. They arrive quietly, slipping into our days like sunlight through a half-open window. But once they touch us, they leave warmth that lingers. The simplest gift can awaken forgotten feelings, forgiveness, gratitude, compassion, or even a sense of belonging. It can soften misunderstandings, heal silent distances, and remind us that connection still exists where we thought it was lost. That's the beauty of human relationships. Sometimes a single act of thoughtfulness can say what 1,000 words cannot. A small gift can whisper, "I care," "See you," or "If you matter." And those 3 unspoken messages can transform relationships that were once clouded by pride, pain, or distance. In today's fast-paced world, where we often associate love with big displays or expensive gestures, it's easy to forget how powerful simplicity can be. We measure affection by quantity, not by quality, but real love is found in the quiet corners of kindness. It's in the brother who notices something you love and brings it to you without reason. It's in the friend who checks on you even when you haven't spoken in months. It's in the child who hands you a drawing that says, "I love you," without words. The smallest gestures carry the deepest meaning because they come straight from the heart, unfiltered, unplanned, and pure. They remind us that love doesn't need a stage. It just needs sincerity. That simple gift from her husband's brother changed everything, not because of what it was, but because of what it represented. It symbolized connection, thoughtfulness, and love, the kind that doesn't shout but whispers gently and leaves a permanent mark. It was proof that even in a world full of noise, a quiet gesture can still change hearts, so never underestimate the power of a small act of kindness. Sometimes, a simple gesture, given in honesty and love, can shift relationships, melt hearts, and rewrite stories. Because in the end, it's not the size of the gift that matters, but the size of the heart that gives it. In a world where everything seems to have a price tag, we often forget that the true worth of anything, whether it's a gift, a word, or an action, is not found in how much it costs, but in the intention behind it. A simple gesture done with love, sincerity, and pure thoughtfulness can carry more value than the most expensive gift bought without meaning. Real gifts come from the heart, not from the wallet. When the husband's brother offered his gift, it might not have looked grand or luxurious. It wasn't wrapped in gold paper or sealed with elegance, but it held something far more precious: intention. The intention to connect, to express care, to show thoughtfulness in a quiet, honest way. That's what made it special. The real treasure was not the object itself but the emotion that traveled through it. A feeling that said, "You matter to me." We live in a society where people often mistake price for value. We equate bigger with better, costlier with more meaningful. But life has a beautiful way of proving us wrong. Sometimes the simplest gifts, a handwritten note, a flower picked from the garden, a cup of tea shared in silence, hold a power that no amount of money can buy. They touch the heart because they carry authenticity. Intention is what transforms something ordinary into something extraordinary. When a person gives from the heart, their gift carries a part of their soul. It reflects their awareness, their understanding, and their care for the other person. That's why gifts given with love have the ability to heal, inspire, and build bridges. Even when they come in small, humble forms. The husband's brother may not have realized it, but his simple gift spoke volumes. It wasn't about luxury. It was about noticing something, perhaps remembering a small detail or a quiet wish, and acting upon it. That kind of intention shows empathy, the ability to feel what someone else might need without being told. When we look deeper, we realize that this truth extends far beyond physical gifts. Every gesture we make in life, a smile, a word of encouragement, a moment of listening, carries value based on intention. A person who listens with full heart gives more than someone who offers expensive advice without care. A word spoken in sincerity has more impact than an eloquent speech spoken without feeling. True value is invisible to the eye. It's something you feel. In the warmth of a gesture, in the authenticity of a smile, in the thought behind an action. The power of intention is that it reaches beyond material boundaries and speaks directly to the heart. And when a gift, no matter how small, is given with that kind of intention, it becomes priceless. That's why the simple gift changed everything. It reminded her that love doesn't have to be loud to be real. It showed that sometimes, the people who make the biggest difference in our lives aren't the ones who give us the most, but the ones who give from the heart. So the next time you give or receive something, don't ask, how much does it cost? Ask instead, how much love was put into it? Because in the end, the true value of anything in life isn't defined by numbers or currency. It's defined by meaning, by sincerity, and by the heart that gives it. Kindness doesn't always need words. Sometimes, the most powerful acts of love are expressed in silence. A gentle gesture, a quiet act of understanding, or a simple offering can reach deeper than 1,000 spoken apologies. That's the beauty of unspoken kindness. It flows straight from the heart to another heart, carrying warmth that words could never fully describe. In this story, when her husband's brother gave her that simple gift, he may not have said much. There may have been no grand speech, no long explanation, just a quiet moment, a small offering, and a gentle look that said everything words could not. Yet, that silence carried something profound. It carried care, respect, and maybe even a wish for peace. It was kindness in its purest form, wordless, sincere, and deeply healing. Sometimes, relationships within families are layered with misunderstandings, unspoken emotions, or unhealed wounds. People may love each other deeply but find it hard to express it. Pride, distance, or fear can create walls that keep love from flowing freely. But a single act of unspoken kindness, one that expects nothing in return, has the power to break through those walls. It speaks a language that every soul understands: compassion. The husband's brother's gesture might have seemed small, but it carried emotional weight. Maybe it was his way of saying, "I care," or "I see you," or even "I'm sorry." Whatever the message, it didn't need to be spoken, because true kindness doesn't seek recognition. It doesn't need an audience. Its strength lies in its sincerity, in doing something good without expecting anything back. Unspoken kindness heals because it allows hearts to reconnect without confrontation or pressure. It gently melts resentment, eases pain, and opens the door to forgiveness. It reminds us that sometimes people show love differently, not through loud declarations, but through quiet gestures that whisper instead of shout. We live in a time where expressions of care are often loud, public, and performative, but genuine kindness rarely seeks the spotlight. It lives in the small things: the meal prepared when someone is tired, the message sent when someone is struggling, or the gift given without occasion. These little things may go unnoticed, but they hold the power to heal the unseen. The woman in this story might have carried silent emotions, perhaps confusion, sadness, or distance within her relationships. But when she received that gift, something shifted. It wasn't about the item itself. It was about what it represented. That small act became a symbol of hope, a reminder that love still existed quietly between them, waiting to be acknowledged. Unspoken kindness doesn't erase the past, it transforms it. It softens hearts that were once guarded and opens pathways for communication and connection. It is like a gentle hand resting on a wound, not forcing healing, but inviting it. The truth is, we all have the power to heal others, not just through words, but through kindness unspoken. A small gesture, a thoughtful act, a compassionate silence. These are the quiet ways we tell others, "You're not alone." So, never underestimate the impact of a silent kindness. It might not echo loudly, but it lingers softly, in hearts, in memories, and in the spaces between people who once stood apart. Because sometimes, the things we don't say, but do, are the very things that bring healing where words once failed. Family is a beautiful yet complex tapestry, woven with laughter, misunderstandings, love, silence, forgiveness, and countless shared memories. No bond is ever perfect. There are moments of distance and unspoken emotions that create invisible gaps between hearts. But what's remarkable about family is that love has a way of finding its path back, often through the most unexpected acts of kindness. Sometimes, it's not the big gestures or emotional conversations that mend relationships, but the quiet, simple actions that come straight from the heart. In this story, the simple gift from her husband's brother became that unexpected act of love. It wasn't planned, it wasn't dramatic, and yet it changed everything. For a moment, that small gesture softened walls that time or silence might have built. It reminded everyone that behind titles like us brother-in-law or s sister-in-law are two people capable of compassion, warmth, and understanding. That is the true essence of family, love appearing quietly, even when we least expect it. Families are often shaped by traditions and roles. We sometimes carry assumptions about one another, who we think a person is, what they feel, or how they should behave. Over time, these assumptions can turn into emotional distance. But then something surprising happens. One unexpected act of love rewrites that story. It reminds us that people are capable of growth, that they can show affection in new ways, and that sometimes love just needs a small opening to flow again. That gift may have been simple, but it carried meaning far beyond its physical form. It may have said, or, "You're part of this family," or, "I want peace between us." Whatever the message was, it spoke volumes without words. And in that moment, hearts began to shift. The gesture didn't just connect two people, it began to heal a family. Unexpected acts of love are powerful because they're genuine. They aren't done out of duty or expectation, but out of choice. When someone chooses kindness, especially when it's not required or asked for, that love carries immense strength. It becomes a mirror, reflecting back the humanity and goodness that still exist within family ties. Family bonds don't grow stronger through perfection. They grow through grace, through forgiveness offered quietly, through kindness extended freely, through moments when one person decides to give, to reach out, to love, even when it's easier to stay silent. The husband's brother did exactly that. His simple act of love opened hearts that might have stayed closed otherwise. What makes families truly beautiful is that they can break and rebuild, drift apart, and come together again. It's love, not blood alone, that holds them together. And love often shows up in the smallest, most unexpected ways. It could be a simple gift, a shared meal, a helping hand, or a moment of listening. But the effect is the same: connection, understanding, and renewal. That one small gift changed everything because it reminded everyone of a timeless truth. That love, even when quiet, is the strongest force that exists within a family. It doesn't always need words or reasons, it just needs a heart willing to give. So, never underestimate an unexpected act of love. You never know whose heart it might touch, what pain it might ease, or what bridge it might rebuild. Because sometimes, one simple act, done with sincerity, can turn an ordinary family moment into a memory that binds hearts forever.